I've talked about princesses a few times on this channel, so why not introduce all of you to one that's not often talked about in gaming? Lady Sia follows the adventure of our titular warrior princess, who is determined to defeat the army of invading beastmen called the Tessoas. Unfortunately, she's knocked out and captured before she can begin, which sucks, but thankfully she's rescued by a mysterious stranger. Now, she needs to recover her jade sword and magic family ring, and defeat the Tessoas once and for all. One of the aspects I liked most about this game was the graphics. Not only are the character designs great, but the animations are fantastic too, and are full of personality. Sia herself is particularly enjoyable to watch on screen, with her swift movements and joyfully energetic celebration when you complete a stage. The enemies even have their own death animations, one of my favorites being this guy crying himself to death after a single hit, which kind of makes me feel like a bad person, because he wasn't even attacking me. So I guess at that point, it's just plain bullying. The backgrounds shouldn't be neglected either, as they're very colorful and full of detail, making each region feel unique. There was some difficulty in distinguishing between what surfaces can and can't be stepped on, but it wasn't a huge issue for me. The gameplay is pretty typical of an action platformer / side-scroller. You travel across each level from beginning to end, defeating enemies and making your way through obstacles in the process. Your sword acts as your basic B-button attack, which is swift and close-ranged. It also doubles as a handy tool to help reach those platforms high above you. Holding the B button will execute your charged magic attack. This will consume magic power stored in your family ring, which can be replenished by picking up blue gems scattered across the area. There are also hearts that will restore some of your health. Outside of typical combat, there are some instances where you're riding a giant white bird you've befriended. This is where you can pick up enemies and drop them to their deaths. There are also several boss fights where Sia shapeshifts into a beast-like form of her own. She can't use her sword or magic, but makes up for it with her greatly increased strength. The bosses aren't terribly difficult either, as it usually just involves waiting for patterns and opportunities of attack. Defeating bosses will also unlock new combos to use during normal combat, but I found it to be much easier to just use the basic attacks. Overall, the gameplay won't take too long to get the hang of. I remember hearing some people having trouble with glitches, which I did encounter a couple of times in my playthrough. But for me, it was only a minor annoyance at most, and not very frequent. Actually, the most infuriating part for me was making this damned blind jump down to a barrel. I have no idea if this bit was intentional or not, but no exaggeration, it took me a good half hour before I was able to proceed past this point. For most people, it probably won't take more than a dozen hours at the very most to complete the game. And once you defeat the final boss and watch the last cutscene, all's well that ends well, right? Well, kind of. This game also has a secret ending. At the end of each level, you're given an evaluation of how you did. In order to get the secret ending, you need to reach 100% completion on each of those levels, as well as on the bonus levels you'll unlock by doing so. And to do that, you need to find all of the green gems, rescue all of the hostages, as well as reach the end of the level with full health and magic. While there are checkpoints to find, if you lose a life, then the level resets. This means if you lose all of your health, you'll have to backtrack to find all of the gems and prisoners again. This game is already pretty challenging as it is, although still not among the hardest games I've ever played. However, attempting to 100% the game in every aspect is nothing short of an intense exercise of patience, skill, and sanity. Apparently, this is an exercise not many people succeeded in, because I can't seem to find any information on what exactly this secret ending entails. I just know that it exists. Probably. Speaking of things that kind of exist, there is going to be a sequel to this game. 2 of them, in fact. There is a direct sequel, called Lady Sia 2, as well as a Lady Sia 3D for the GameCube and PS2. While the latter did make it very far in development, the former appears to be just about completed. In fact, a full playthrough of this unreleased prototype can be found on the YouTube channel Papa Cube. I'll leave a link to the channel in the description for those that are interested. Unfortunately, both of these games were cancelled when publisher TDK Mediactive was acquired by Take-Two Interactive. And what a shame that is, in my opinion. Lady Sia's gameplay wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was a lot of fun, with a challenge level that was satisfying to overcome. Not only that, but it looked great too. and I think there was a lot of potential in making this a series, particularly with its lore. Sia's shapeshifting powers aren't really expanded upon in the game, we just know that's something she can do. So I feel like future games could have explored the backstory behind her abilities. She also has a sister, where we have only one, but nonetheless interesting interaction with her. Their relationship also could have been interesting to see more of. I also think Princess Sia herself would have become a well-liked character. She's proactive and headstrong, but also has a good heart. While she's not afraid to fight, she'd also rather get people back on her side than completely obliterate them if she can. Plus, it's cute how she quickly becomes friends with the bird she rescued. And of course, being an attractive and muscular young lady certainly doesn't hurt. I bet even her shapeshifted form would have helped attract some fans. Lady Sia is yet another game that had an interesting premise with plenty of future potential, but was sadly squashed before it could even get off the ground. And again, that's just a damn shame. A game having such great potential, but not even given the chance to try is always one of the most disappointing things to see. But perhaps if you give the game a try, you'll fall in love with her all the same. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click like, and subscribe if you want to see more.